Summer heat and humidity and the quintessential big box bike build based on the Schwinn Aluminum Comp, the 2020 Schwinn Aluminum Comp. There were aluminum comps before this one on this channel that was one of my key early bike builds. That was the 2019 Aluminum Comp. But I've spotted aluminum comps going back as far as I think 2010, maybe even earlier, a storied model within the Schwinn brand. So there's no better bike to talk about big box bikes, big box bike builds, and are they worth it? I have video after video on the aluminum comps, every component selected for performance, but budget performance. I bought most of these things on sale, keeping the price down, and it has held up quite well. As a matter of fact, what you are seeing is 5 years after I've built this, and for the past 7 months, actually closer to 8, this bike has sat outdoors under my deck. It's a slatted deck. That means that it has been exposed to a little bit of rain, a little bit of overspray from rain when there are heavy rains. So I wanted to show you these components, budget components, and talk about how these age. Because there are people online that say any budget component isn't going to hold up any better than a budget bike will. I disagree. If you're new here, a quick update so you don't have to watch a bunch of videos, even though I recommend you take a look at them. Some of them are pretty interesting. But the thing I like about budget bikes, a person that has never ridden a trail before, that doesn't want to spend $500, $600, $1,000 on a bike, can shop at a store like Walmart, pick up something like this in its factory form, and try out the trails and see if they're going to like it before they make a bigger investment. And in the case of specific bikes, like the aluminum comp that you're seeing here, I find bikes that are upgradable that can become more capable with a few added parts and grow with the rider. Skills improve, need a better fork? Put one on it. A bike like this is capable of handling even modern forks because this has a tapered head tube. Outgrow a clunky 3x drivetrain, even though our big box bikes now usually have 1x. This one came with a 3x. We'll upgrade it with a budget group set. And budget group sets have come a long way. All of this has held up well. And again, I haven't ridden this in at least 7 months, closer to 8 months. And it sat out exposed to the weather. I wish I would have taken a video of this before I wiped it down. There are some telltale signs. You can see a little bit of rust on the rotor there. You can see some muck there. The entire bike basically looked like that. So my theory is buy affordably, ride, and make sure you're even going to like it first. Have a little bit of fun, then upgrade and have more fun. It's not even a theory at this point because I've proven it over and over again. But this bike, pretty much, as I mentioned, the quintessential example, because I've had this bike for over 5 years and it's still going strong, even in the face of some neglect, just letting it sit. So that says these budget parts can hold up, can do the bit if you select the right parts. And some of these, I'm talking really budget. These IXF crank sets, you can still buy these for under $50. At one point I was buying them for under $40. I've never had a problem with them personally. And this one has held up exceptionally well. This means that according to the people that just hate the idea of a budget bike being able to ride out on a trail or being able to accept some upgrades that make it even better, well, this bike pretty much proves all of them wrong, at least in my opinion. And I'll also state that even though this still looks really good on camera and has aged quite well, that says a lot about this finish. And yes, this frame is the only original part. That just means Schwinn makes quality frames that can hold up. A little rust on the chain, some signs of wear here and there, but overall, this still looks like it hasn't been ridden a lot. But this was my most ridden bike back in 2020. And when I say my most ridden bike, I ride way more than the average person, especially back in 2020. I would say over the year that if I wasn't out at the trail, out at this trail, riding at minimum 3.5 to 4 trail miles a day, usually 5 to 6. In 2020, I was out here at least 3 times per week if you average it over the entire year. That's a lot of trail riding. I read somewhere online that the average mountain biker rides 2 weeks out of the year. That's not a lot, so I've ridden more than the average mountain biker for 5 years. 2020, my main bike, and that even bled into 2021, so I'll go on record and say 2020 and 2021, this was my most ridden bike. It's also been my most loaned out bike just because it's so good. This is a bike I can put someone that's never ridden on and they're not struggling with crappy components. They have something good that gives them a taste of true mountain biking but still on a budget. So let's talk about numbers, budget numbers, and averages. When I talk about riding as you go, buying the budget bike and then slowly upgrading it over time, what did this cost me? You saw this for the first time in March of 2020. So that's the date I'm going to use. I rode it stock for the first month or so, and then I slowly started upgrading it, and I ended up completing the upgrades into the version that you see here. Well, at least a variant of this version. This is V2.2. The difference is the suspension seat post, as far as I recall. But everything else, I got to February of 2021 to get it into this format. And the price that this averaged out to was $79 worth of parts upgrades per month from March to February. And I ended up with a very usable bike that has lasted me over 5 years. I think that says a lot about longevity of both budget bikes and budget bike parts. For instance, these marquee grips. If anything, time has aged them better to match the pedals, but they're still comfortable on the hands. You can see some of that muck I was talking about right in there. This is a really good fork. I've looked for other X-Fusion forks since this one. It's been so impressive to me. Well, this set up outside for, again, 7 to 8 months exposed to weather. One quick press down, it compressed. I checked the air in it. I'm going to show you a picture here of a gauge, and that's a little lower because I kept the gauge plugged up while I was fumbling with my camera. But it had only lost 3 psi outside over 7 to 8 months. That's going down as low as 0 degrees and as high as a heat index over 110. And this fork is still performing as new. Now, differences over time, really the only difference, these tires. These Mountain King tires, these are the second or third set of these. I think I sold somebody the original set back when there were part shortages and you couldn't get anything else. And I might have even put something different on it for a limited time. By the way, these wheel sets, a good deal back in the day, probably less so now, but they did come with thinner tires. But these specific tires have been on here a while. And I've had people talk about nubbins. Every now and then you'll see a little nubbin. I think right there you can still see one on this. And yeah, by the way, my little black fingernail there, don't stick your finger between the rotor while you're cleaning a bike. Bad time. These little nubbins, somebody says, you don't ride enough to wear down nubbins. You would be surprised how long you can ride a bike out here on the trail. These specific tires, I can remember riding them for months and months and months, and they still had nubbins on the middle here. Those are finally worn down, but you know, trail miles a lot different than street miles if it's solely a trail mountain bike. Moral of the story, this bike, these parts have held up well, and it just goes to show you don't have to listen to the people that tell you have to spend $1,000+ on a mountain bike to have some base fun, some entry-level fun at a mountain bike trail, and have a bike that will grow with you as you progress on trail riding. This bike is a testament to that, but that's not the only reason that we're out here today. Because there's another thing I need to mention. The aluminum comp has been retired and replaced with one of the new Axum bikes. And I mentioned in that video, that bike is basically an aluminum comp with a 1x drivetrain. So we finally got it, it just didn't come with the aluminum comp name. So was all of this a setup just for that? Well, sort of, but also I really needed to talk about this because I did conduct the experiment and left it sitting out. And just to show you, a budget bike can hold up, a budget bike build can hold up. If you do it right, you can save some money, have as much fun as with an expensive bike, and with the right parts, have one that'll hold up. Now, all of this is saying for the average rider. I'm the average rider. I'm not doing 10 or 12 foot drops. If you're doing stuff like that, I mean, you wouldn't take your Honda Civic to a NASCAR race. Well, the same thing if you start doing extreme things on mountain bike trails. But as I've mentioned, I'm the average rider. I'm probably more like most of you than you might want to admit. When it comes to trail riding, we take it cautious, but we still have some fun. And budget builds, in my opinion, can make that happen. Even better because you're not spending super amounts of money and you're having the joy of having a budget build. At least that's what it is for me. Your mileage may vary. All I can share is my opinions and my experiences. And my experiences say that budget bike builds like the aluminum comp, Project Comp V2, are a good thing. In summary, this bike has held up for 5+ years, still going strong with its budget upgrade components. The future is going to be a little different, a little better, and with a twist. So now I want to hear from you. Comment below, do you think this bike is still awesome after 5 years? Are you looking forward to what's coming next? And how has your budget build held up? For us budget builders, I think we're mostly happy. Let me hear from you. Comment below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.